Well, hello everyone again. It is Karen Ann Harlos, the Pink Parliamentarian. I am a registered parliamentarian with the National Association of Parliamentarians. And that just seems like a lot of using the word parliamentarians in a row. But if you have an organization or just yourself that is in need of my services, you can check me out at pinkparliamentarian.com. I can assure you that my rates are very reasonable and I do offer free brief consultations. But what is this show? This show is my weekly, just down and dirty tips on Robert's rules that will help you understand it better, hopefully have better meetings, and remember to always put people first. Now, I know I don't look the part of your typical parliamentarian. We don't all have to look like funeral directors, so let's bring some fun and some pink into this, shall we? So last week we talked about the idea of an abstention and exactly what that is. And we are moving along the train in order to fully understand the idea of a majority. So start having that in your head because I am going to ask you next week, what is a majority? Sounds easy, but it's not maybe quite as easy because there are answers and there are asterisks. But this week, what we're going to talk about is whether or not it is ever required for someone who otherwise has the right to vote to abstain. For this purpose, we are going to assume that we are just using the parliamentary authority of Robert's Rules of Order, 12th edition, that there are no contravening state laws. The bylaws don't say anything. This is just strict parliamentary procedure. And when you ask people this, what you will often hear is that, yes, the chair must abstain on every vote. Now, let me give you a little cautionary tale here. There are some special rules for small boards, which Roberts defines as around 11 or less, and those same rules apply to committees. We are not dealing with them here. The assumption is we're dealing with a board of more than 11 or so people, so it's just the regular rules. We'll deal with small board rules in another show. So is that assumption correct? No, it's not. The chair is a member, usually. Now, sometimes there are appointed chairs, but let's assume that the chair appointed non-member chairs, but let's just assume that the chair is a member, then they have full voting rights and they cannot be compelled not to vote. However, they should not vote unless their vote will affect the total, either cause or break a tie. And the reason why they should not cannot, is to preserve their gravitas of impartiality and fairness. And you can find this in RONR 45.6. In fact, RONR 45.48, in describing the procedure for a roll call vote, says that in a roll call vote, the secretary should call the chair's name last, and only if the chair's vote will affect the result. Now, I can tell you as a secretary, it's sort of the custom in my organization that I'll say what the vote total is so far and ask the chair if they wish to vote. But that is not exactly correct. You normally would not call on the chair unless their vote would affect the result. And in that same vein, just like how the chair shouldn't call for abstentions in like a large convention with rising votes or counted votes, in saying, well, so far we have X number of yeses and X number of noes, the secretary really shouldn't say the abstentions either. But when you're dealing with maybe not a giant body, but say a board of 20 people, where there might be a lot of abstentions and there's a question as to whether there was a quorum present. So if someone's reading the minutes and they're going, only a few people voted, was there even a quorum? The secretary can choose to include the abstentions in the minutes. The chair can request it, or a member can request it. And this is for clarity's sake and should never be done for a dilatory purpose. But again, all this being said, the chair cannot be compelled not to vote. Although that might mean they're not so great of a chair. A good chair will want to preserve their impartiality. But let's get to my notes, because as you know, I have them. The part I wanted to read in full, and let me get on my old lady glasses, is 45.4, which is entitled Abstaining from Voting on a Question of Direct Personal Interest. No member should vote on a question in which he has a direct personal or pecuniary interest, not common to other members of the organization. However, no member can be compelled to refrain from voting in such circumstances. And it continues in 45.5, referring to the prior section, that the previous rule does not mean that a member should not vote for himself for an office or other position to which members are generally eligible, or should not vote when other members are included with him in a motion. And what is so funny is that is the time you will usually see somebody abstain when it's voting for themselves for a position. That's actually probably when they shouldn't, and they should refrain from voting in other circumstances. Again, all of these are shoulds. Now, something that I will know is common in email ballots in the organization that I'm a secretary with is abstentions are usually announced in the title because of the special rules of order we have for email ballots. But normally, you just put the yeses or the nos as we discussed before. All right, everyone, that was a short one. Remember to check me out at pinkparliamentarian.com. And I'm more known for my political libertarian broadcasts, sometimes deal with Libertarian Party history at Pink Flame of Liberty. Please subscribe to this channel and then go check out that one and subscribe to that one as well if that interests you at all. And then there's also my second love, which is words in history. And you can find me on a channel called Jurassic Dictionary, which I recorded earlier today. And if that piques your interest, please go and subscribe there as well. But in any event, I hope you have an awesome whatever time of the world it is for you right now. And I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye now.